A pedestrian has been sent to hospital with life-threatening injuries after being hit by a bus. Good evening, I'm Ryan Bonazzo. Thank you for joining us. Thunder Bay Police continue to investigate the circumstances of that serious collision that happened just after 11 o'clock last night near the corner of May and George Streets. A section of May Street was closed overnight but reopened this morning. Police say a 42-year-old female pedestrian was taken to hospital with life-threatening injuries after the collision with a Thunder Bay Transit bus. Members of the traffic and forensic units are involved in the investigation. It's unclear at this point if any charges will be laid. Transit Services Manager Brad Loroff says their thoughts are with the injured pedestrian and they hope for a speedy recovery. It's unlikely the city will be able to achieve partial occupancy of the temporary shelter village by the end of the year, even if the Hilliard lands remain as the site. That's according to a memo from City Manager John Collin, which was sent to councillors earlier this week ahead of Tuesday's debate. Jessica Clement explains.
The memo from City Manager John Collin warns the 13 City Council members that even if the Hilliard location off Alloy Place remains the designated site for the temporary shelter village, partial occupancy by the end of the year is, quote, unlikely. That's due to the ongoing pause caused by the pending council motion on potentially rescinding their site decision regarding Hilliard. Collins says partial occupancy over the tiny home village may still be achievable within the first few months of 2026. However, if council rescinds Hilliard on Tuesday night, selecting a new site would take at least 60 days by administration for analysis, consultation, and approval, pushing interim operations at the village to late spring at the earliest. The memo concludes by saying the establishment of the village is a crucial component of the 10-part plan, and without it, the city may have to go back to status quo. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
After 5 years of planning, fundraising, and pre-construction work, the new tennis dome at Chapels Park is one step closer to completion. Paving got underway yesterday for the surface of the 6-court indoor facility.
Yeah, it's kind of a monumental day here at the tennis center because we've been working on this project for a long time, many years. And as we can see behind us, we have the asphalting of the top surface going down.
The paving work comes a few months after the concrete perimeter was built. Since then, crews have been doing underground work before the rest of the foundation could be completed. Tennis Center Director Jamie Grieve says the next steps are to get blower and heating units in place and apply a blue acrylic top coat on the asphalt. The erection of the bubble itself will begin in about a month.
The bubble manufacturer Farley Group is coming up to do the bubble mid-October. October 15th is the date as of right now to erect the dome. So you know, it's nice to just see the finish line and to finally be able to get and hopefully play some indoor tennis and pickleball. We're going to have 1 court of pickleball in the daytime hours, and we'll see if we can expand from there. But we're really excited to be providing you know, good services for the people of Thunder Bay and keeping a nice, healthy, active community.
The total cost of the project is just under $5 million. Grieve says if the bubble installation goes smoothly, the Rogers Tennis Dome could open to users by late October or early November. A local company wants to dramatically increase the amount of locally raised meat they can bring to market thanks to some new technology. Superior Foods wholesales a wide range of products, but meat is the most significant. Owner Louis Alves says livestock raised near Thunder Bay and in the Emo area makes up about 1/4 of the meat they process and sell. But he hopes that number gets up to 50 or 60%, in part thanks to new product tracking, labeling, and packaging technology that will allow them to meet grocery store standards.
I think Thunder Bay is well set with the farmland that's here. That's, you know, perfect for raising cattle. That's, you know, being underutilized. The opportunity to really help grow the farmers' capacity to raise more animals, and the bottleneck's been the processing facilities that aren't available to do that.
Going to help them with their processing, packaging, and distribution, so and allowing them to get more local foods into the market, into our stores. It's all about growing our local agribusiness here. You know, grow local, buy local.
Thunder Bay Atikokan MPP Kevin Holland was at Superior Foods to announce $75,000 in joint federal-provincial funding, which is nearly half the total cost. Alves says shoppers in the city should start seeing local meat on grocery store shelves in the next 3 to 6 months. From the public sector to the mining industry, employers from around the region gathered in Thunder Bay today to learn about Anishinaabeg Employment and Training Services Wellness Opportunities Initiative. The program helps Anishinaabe people with disabilities get into the workforce and connect with potential employers. Lee Noonan reports.
The ballroom at the Prince Arthur Hotel was filled with employers for the Wellness Opportunities Employment Conference put on by Anishinaabeg Employment and Training Services. All there to learn more about a program that works to get Anishinaabe people who self-identify as having a disability ready for the job market.
So there's a whole team of individuals that will assist the participants and meet them where they're at to get them from where they are walking in into that end goal of employment. So if that's mental health supports, life skill supports, and so on and so forth.
Keynote speaker Leanna Marshall is a social worker and member of Kitchenamay-Kusipin and Inukjuak. She hopes the employers at the conference come away inspired to be humble and ask hard questions about how to make their workplaces safe and comfortable for Indigenous employees.
Understanding the history helps people to work in a compassionate way and to just have everyone be treated with respect and kindness.
The importance of investing in building up your staff is one message that will stay with James Anderson, Director of Health and Wellness for Dalico Anishinaabeg Family Care.
We would like to increase the number of Anishinaabeg employees for all positions at Dalico, and we know that being here is going to come with some really good discussion, dialogue, and some creative solutions that will help us achieve those goals.
Darian Keogh shared her experience in the program, going from unemployed and struggling with addiction to stable employment as an educational assistant.
When I got my full-time job, it just felt so good to have a routine and a structure, and then on top of that be with children and teaching them paving their way to their adulthood, and it's just really like a full circle moment, and it's amazing.
There's zero commitment on the employer side when they sign up. It's a potential for a future employee. So once the employee does come and reach out to us, we will then provide the resume to that potential employer, and then the employer can take it on from there. So we have employees that want to work in trades, they want to work in health, they want to work in many different sectors.
AETS is encouraging employers of all sizes from across the region to sign up for the program and potentially bring an employee like Keogh into their business. Lee Noonan, TBT News.
A project to control the destructive sea lamprey is showing good results in the Nebing River. Officials with the LRCA and Fisheries and Oceans Canada celebrated the opening of a new permanent lamprey trap yesterday. Sea lamprey are an invasive parasitic species that attach to Great Lakes fish, feeding on their blood and bodily fluids, ultimately killing them. Officials on both sides of the border have been working to reduce the lamprey's population for decades. The concrete trap was built along the river near the corner of Edward Street and Parkway Drive. It's a big upgrade from the old system that used metal traps that had to be raised and lowered by hand. The DFO and the LRCA also unveiled a new sign at that location to teach the public about the frightening-looking species known as the fish killer.
The Conservation Authority is excited to partner with Department of Fisheries and Oceans and the Great Lakes Fisheries Commission, allowing this permanent sea lamprey trap to be installed on land owned by the Conservation Authority. And we also have a contract where we're now trapping and emptying the traps on behalf of DFO. And the trap is important because it helps control sea lamprey populations in Lake Superior, and it is also the only indexing site on the Canadian side of Lake Superior. So what that means is we have a method to basically estimate the populations of sea lamprey that need controlling in our area.
We used to run portable traps, which are heavy and awkward, so we've been thinking for years about putting a permanent trap in here, and finally in the past 2 years we've made it happen. It was constructed in 2024 and first operated in spring 2025. It's worked really well this year. We caught close to 100 sea lamprey this spring.
LRCA officials keep track of the number of lamprey that are trapped in order to help DFO biologists decide how often to apply lampricide in local rivers. Visiting firefighters had the chance to take part in a live fire training session during the 4th day of FireCon. A mobile fire training unit was set up at the Valhalla Hotel parking lot to practice fire attack methods, team communication, and search and rescue skills. Jessica Clement reports.
Day 4 of FireCon saw a continuation of the various classes and courses at the conference's 3 locations around the city. At the Valhalla Hotel parking lot, volunteer firefighters were able to take part in a live fire training session. The mobile training unit simulates a house fire, where crews can practice various fire attack methods, search and rescue, and ventilation.
They're going to go inside of the building with their hose lines, they're going to locate the fire, and they're going to apply water to cool and extinguish the fire. Once that's done, they're going to ventilate the structure, remove the heated gases inside and the smoke to improve visibility and be able to help with their search and rescue efforts. And while they're doing all that, they're looking for patients, looking for victims, and if they come across somebody, they're going to remove them from the structure.
Kenora Deputy Fire Chief Dexter Hoopy says the whole week of FireCon has been incredible, noting all 10 training courses have been running smoothly. He emphasizes the importance of training simulations like the mobile unit.
We're seeing the number of fires decrease, but we're seeing the severity of the fires increase. So we're seeing less fires, but more fatal ones. So this gives our students the opportunity to practice those skills in a controlled environment before going to somebody's home and doing it. So that way when they get there, they're proficient in their skills, they're efficient with their teams, and they can get the job done safely.
It was actually really fun. I really enjoyed it. I got to be the nozzle person, so that was cool.
17-year-old Logan Dunn Chabukwe is a volunteer firefighter from Wawagun Lake, Ojibwe Nation. He says the conference is a great opportunity for those who live in smaller communities that don't have the resources to train their firefighters.
It was a great experience because out there, since we're in the Kenora district, unfortunately we are pretty landlocked in the forms of that a lot of big companies don't have the room nor the space to come out there and train, like bring all these people out there. So Thunder Bay is like the closest area, so it's really great when people are actually funding the ability to come way out here to do all this awesome training that the people working here have put together.
The final day of FireCon is Saturday, and the conference will finish off with the banquet. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
Well, and it was a perfect fire suppression kind of day out there, Fiona, because it was wet, it was dreary, and it was cooler than we were expecting.
Yeah, it was definitely not what I would call an inspiring day. A lot of gray skies, and if you take a look at what happened as far as the precipitation, if we look at the radar, you can see a lot of it to the west. Now, for the most part, it has been tracking kind of in a southerly flow for the most part, leaving things pretty clear further north in some areas. It was well below what we should be seeing for this time of year. We had a low of 9, which is normal, but we only warmed up to 14. That is not what Environment Canada had promised us yesterday. We also, as you saw, had mist in the morning, clouds, and of course, periods of rain. Here's the kicker. Temperatures were at or a few degrees above seasonal everywhere else. It seemed, all right, with the exception of maybe Nipigon and Marathon, but it was just our area along the lake shore, around Lake Superior, that seemed to be holding on to those cooler temperatures. To the west right now, Fort Frances, despite having periods of rain and mostly cloudy conditions, they topped out at 19, well above what we saw. They're currently at 18. And then we're back into the 20s in Kenora at 22, 21 in Sioux Lookout, Red Lake, Pickle Lake at 24 under partly cloudy skies to the northwest. And in fact, it was a relatively dry day with the exception of one brief shower that we saw reported earlier. North of Lake Superior, well, Armstrong is currently sitting at 2019 in Greenstone. Remember, they should be seeing around 16 Celsius for a daytime high, and nothing but sunshine at this hour. Towards the eastern side of the lake, Sault Ste. Marie currently at 18. They topped out at 20 and had a humidex of 24. That's despite starting out with mist and having mostly cloudy skies most of the day. Tonight, City of Thunder Bay will drop down to a low of 13, so really not going to get much colder than it is right now. We are right now around our high for the day of 14, so might slip a whole degree. There's a 40% chance of showers and a risk of a thunderstorm for this evening until around midnight, maybe an hour or so afterwards. After that, just a whole lot of cloud, very little wind, and fog patches once again developing. But with a very mild overnight low, there is a very good chance we are going to see finally a little bit more of the heat that everybody else seems to be enjoying. Here's the downside. It looks pretty gray in our future, and I'll have more details on that later on in the news hour because it's probably not going to make you happy.
Well, I'll just have to look at the positive and the warmer temperatures. That'll have to be good enough.
I'm positive it's not going to make you happy.
What are you talking about? I'm always happy with the weather. I never complain.
Mr. Sunshine.
I know, exactly. That's what my friends call me.